Hi, my name is Bob Moore. I am VP of Mobile Development here at Alpha Software, and today I'm going to show you something new that we've added to the PWA Builder for progressive web apps, and that is the ability to prompt the user to install the app on the device or on the desktop. Now, this is really, really important because PWA apps, unless they are installed on iOS devices, don't really act like PWAs. For example, they can't do things like push notifications. And Apple doesn't make it easy. They don't prompt you to do that. So with this new ability to prompt the user to add to the home screen is really, really beneficial, and will make sure that you get the most mileage that you can out of your PWAs. So we're going to start off by taking a look at I'll run the live preview on this. This is the Alpha Notes app that I did back in 2022. This is a really, really nice little PWA in that it uses Firestore for the back end, and it includes it's online and offline synchronization of data. There's actually no alpha server here used at all, and it gives you an idea of like how much power you've got in your hands here as a developer to leverage Firebase with alpha. So this is a really great example app, and this is available up on GitHub. And I've also got a number of videos that I've done back in Alpha. Let's see, it was Alpha DevCon 2022. I'll make sure that you have a link to all those videos that I did so you can see how this app was built. I go into great detail on that. And then I've got a follow-up video on how to debug PWAs that I did last year at DevCon 2023. That will be in the same list, so you'll be able to see all those videos. And this one I'll make sure to get in there as well. It's up on my Alpha YouTube channel. So this particular application here is running in live preview, right? And I look at that complete video for Alpha Dev Days. That's right now we're doing that. So now we'll change the status over here to in process. And let's see, we'll go ahead and save that, right? So that's now done, and that would have been updated on any device that had this application installed. Let's see if I can get that to come back over there. Let's see. Bear with me a second. Yeah, there we go. Reminder, this is in process. So that's the component itself. What I'm going to do now is you would come in to highlight the component that you want to turn into a PWA, and next click on PWA, create a progressive web application. So this is Alpha Notes. This description right here is used for the stores. So if you wanted to publish this to the Google Play Store or to the Microsoft Store, that would be used there. There are some additional properties that I'm going to be adding to this so that have been recently added to help you promote PWAs in the app stores. It can be a little tricky to get a PWA into the Apple Store. It is possible, and hopefully I'll do another video in the future that kind of shows you how you could possibly do that. But Apple, it makes it a little tricky. Now notice on this one, I've got an offline page here that I'm including, and but if you look at the Ajax callbacks, there aren't any. So everything's going on between the client and Firebase Firestore. We're using a service account for that. It works really, really well. But the new thing here is going to be right here, add to home screen dialog. And that's what we're going to be showing you today. So we've got that checked. We want to make sure that this PWA app, that the user's prompted to install this app. Okay. And so you've got some display options here. This says show screen display options. They can be either standalone or inline. And let's take a look at what that actually means. So I've got some pictures here I've done, and let me bring them both up and you'll be able to see them. So Let me just center this guy over here. So this right here is inline. So you can see install Hello World v2. That's the name of, that's what we called this one. Well, actually, that was the one I was testing before. It was called Hello World v2. That's ours here would be called Alpha Notes. Sorry, a bit confusing. But that was one of my test things, and that was the screen I captured. Okay, just so you could see the difference. And then this is the way it looks. Come on over here. There we go. Okay, this is the way it looks with standalone. So instead of it being all on that one line, it just says install app, and then your app name would be right here. So again, in this case, it would be Alpha Notes. So that's what you're controlling with this property right here. Now, max modal pop-up display count. You could prompt a user to install the application multiple times. So in this case, I've got up to 10. That would be really aggravating to do that. So really, you kind of really only want to prompt the guy once or twice to install it. That's just my own opinion. If they don't want to install it, then that's the way it is. But we definitely want to prompt at least once for them to install. Once we exceed this count, it won't come up again. And there's a reason to go for a low count here, and I'll explain it when I actually get into the demo of the application itself. Default browser locale. So this is an open source project up on GitHub, and it supports a bunch of different languages. So all of the prompts and the dialogues can be in all these different languages. And here's a long list of them, and it even includes different dialects of Chinese. But in this case, we'll say English. You can auto-detect the browser locale as well. And this is, so even if my default locale was English and somebody in Spain opened it up, it would adjust here to the Spanish language if you have this auto-detect browser locale checked. And again, your choice. Automatically launch the add to home screen dialog. Do you want to launch this thing when the guy loads the app? Do you want to prompt him right away to install to the home screen? If you can programmatically prompt them as well. So if, let's say you could have a button that says, oh, I want to install this, and then it would bring that dialog up and it would be the same thing, but you're programmatically doing it as opposed to here we're going to automatically do it. So here we're going to use a delay. So we're going to do a 5,000 millisecond, so a 5-second delay once the app has come up on the device. And you can also set that for page views. So you could say, well, after, like in this case, after 5 page views, then show it. So it's your call on that. You can, once, twice, how many times you want. Now remember, so we've got this guy here set to only show it once, but you could say, well, show it after 3 page views. So that's, again, your call. You can adjust that as required. And then you have an option to show on mobile devices and to show on desktop browsers. Now, clearly you want to show it on mobile devices. And you might not want to show it on desktop browsers. I don't know, but you can. Certainly Chrome and Microsoft's Edge do very well with that. Firefox does not support installing PWAs, so you can't target that, and Opera doesn't either. But any of the Chrome or Edge browsers do a nice job with that. So you can certainly do that. And once you're done with that, let's see, we're not using push notifications on this one. Just go ahead and click on OK, and it's going to generate all the files you need for your progressive web app. Let's see, that's not important to me here because I'm not doing callbacks. And let's go take it all look at the files that we just generated. Here they are. These are all the files. Now, what I like to do when I'm building these projects out is I like to copy these files into a new project that's just very specific for, okay, this is my published PWA. That's the way I do it. You can do it any way you want, but it's just a procedure that I sort of like to use. So what I do is I would come in and typically I'd open this folder up here, copy those files, or I would have copied them from the previous page. So I would have gone in here, copy these files to the clipboard, and then paste them into a different project. That's the way I do it. You don't have to. You could publish right out of that PWA folder. It's just something that I prefer to do. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the project I created specifically for publishing the Alpha Notes PWA app, and it's right here. And I do that because I like to make sure that my project is set up the way I want. Project properties, my default page is index HTML. I like to make sure that I'm not including jQuery core, jQuery UI, all the different things that I need for this specific project. This is where I like to set them. So that's done. And so we're in good shape there. And then now what I'm going to do is we can do live test. So live test we can use, in this case, the local server. We can use, we don't need to go to Alpha Cloud or anything because we're not using, because we're in live test, we can use the service worker. It will still work because it's on localhost. But typically for any PWAs, you want to be up on an HTTPS server. So I would use Alpha Cloud for that. But in this case, we'll just go ahead, do live tests, pick index, development server, and here we go. So go ahead and start that up. And because we've got localhost here, the PWA, well, let me make the size of that window different, sorry. Because we've got, I'm just sizing the window, so just bear with me here so that it fits. Yeah, make it a little smaller so it sort of goes like that. Okay, here we go. Now you notice nothing came up here, and the reason is because I've been testing this, so it just didn't come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the development tools. So we'll launch Control-Shift-I will bring these up. And I'm going to do, now that will let me to do it, allow me to empty the cache here. So we'll just hold that button down, empty cache, and hard reload. And that will reload the application. And let's see. In 5 seconds, we should see something. And we don't. And the reason is, again, because I've done this before on this browser, and when we look in, I'll show you, this is important that I actually know this. When we look in our local storage, you'll see some keys over here. Now I add some keys. You'll see the Alpha ADHS app is installed key. That will get set when the app is installed only on Chrome or Edge. The other browsers don't support that, so I can't really tell if it's been installed. We'd like to see this. We'd like to see all browsers support this, but they don't. So Safari doesn't, and that's a problem on Apple's side of things. I also am storing the locale that was selected, and in this case, auto locale didn't register. But notice this one right here, ADHS, so add to home screen, modal display count is set to 1, right? And so in this case, because we only set it for 1, it's not going to come up again. So I'm going to just click on that value there, and we're going to edit the value, and we'll make it, say, 0. Or the other thing we could do is come over here, right-click on it, and you can just delete the key. So that's now gone. And now I come in and I hold this down, empty cache and hard reload. And now it should come up. And there we go. Okay, so this is our prompt to add this app to our home screen. And you'll notice over here that you've got this little icon as well to say install Alpha Notes, because it's a PWA and you can definitely do that. I'm going to just make this a little different here. Okay. And but here's your prompt to install it. Now this is the browser prompt, and so we just come up with a button and say, yeah, install it. So when you click on the install, this app is now going to get installed, and it's going to bring up another. This is the browser's permission saying, do you want to install this app? And you can't bypass that. So it's basically you have to ask twice, right? So, and if the guy cancels here, we don't really know that he canceled on most devices. We can tell that the app was installed on Chrome and on Edge, and we'll see that once I actually do the install here. So we'll do the install, and now we've got it. It came up in a different. This is the view it would come up with if we launch this right from the desktop. Here, let me just I'm resizing things so that I get it all to fit. Okay, there we go. And let's go take a look now over at our Alpha ADHS, add to home screen app installed, and you'll notice now it's true. So we know this guy's been installed. And let's go ahead and we'll just get rid of the debugger here right now. Resize this screen here. And we'll see when I close this out. And let's go ahead and close that out. You'll see I've got an icon here now on my desktop. And when I click on it, double click on that, there's my app. It's up and running. And, you just work with it as you need to. And we could then say, if you wanted to uninstall it, you can click over here and uninstall Alpha Notes, and it would uninstall, okay? But like for testing purposes, it would uninstall it, but that flag that's set for it's installed, that would still say true, because there is no event that fires in any browser when an app is uninstalled. So that's another important thing to keep in mind. So for example, let's uninstall it, right? And we'll delete all the data. Everything goes away. And there it goes. And now let's go ahead and bring the browser back up. Let's see. No, so I'll just go ahead and do live test again and say, okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And again, let's bring up the debugger here. So more tools or Control-Shift-I, and here we go. And here we can see that, let's see, interesting. Alpha ADHS app installed is false. So I'm detecting that it has been removed. That's right. I do set it to true and false independently. So I am setting it to false. Let me just I'm curious here. I'm going to do an empty hard cache reload here. Yeah, set to false. But notice that this is set to 1. And remember, we only said only prompt one time. So again, in this case, let's just go ahead and delete that key, or we could set it to the number down to 0 or something, and then come over here and do a hard reload on it. And now we should get another prompt. There we go. And I could install it again, and that would be fine. All right, next, let's just copy this URL here. Copy that. And minimize that. And let's bring up Edge. And here's our Alpha Notes coming up in Edge. And again, I'm going to go ahead and look at our development tools just so I can see what's going on here. And let's see what we've got. Got an error there. Service worker is activated. Not sure what that is right there, but that'll probably clear up when we do a refresh. Again, I've been playing around with this, so we've got stuff in the cache and stuff in the service worker caches and so on. But if we go to application here and we go to local storage, we can see, okay, in this case, modal display count is 0, app is installed is null. Let me just refresh this, because this will come back, I think, just with a refresh. Let's see what we've got here. I'll just wait. And there it is. So now in this case, let's go ahead and install it. And this is the way Edge handles this. It's a little different than Chrome. So use this site often. Install the app, which opens in a focus window, has quick access options like pin to taskbar, and syncs across multiple devices. So yes, install it. And then we have other options. Let me just, oh, sorry, I got to get this screen in the recording view so you can see it. And this would be here regardless of whether or not we had that showing. But here, so now Edge gives us some other options. You know, do you want to pin to the taskbar, pin to the start menu? Do you want to create a desktop shortcut? Yeah, so say do that. So allow. Okay, and all of that happens. And then another prompt comes up that I can't show you. Sorry, it's out of the recording thing, that it says, you know, this has been added to your home screen, and so on and so forth. And again, now we'll go ahead and minimize or close out Edge. We've got the app running here. And I'm going to close it out again, and I'm going to go ahead and just double click over here, and here we are running in Edge, our PWA running in Edge successfully. And it's installed. And again, to uninstall here, let's see. Let's see if we have pinned up more tools. Oh, maybe an app settings. I was just looking for the uninstall here. Oh, right here, uninstall. So that's how you do it in Edge. So Edge is different than Chrome. All right, so but that's nice to know. I mean, it does. You can see that it does a nice job. So if you do an app that you want to include into the Microsoft Store, you know, this works out quite well. Next, we'll take a look at it in a couple of mobile browsers. So we'll start out with Android. Okay, so to test this on numerous devices, iOS and Android devices, I'm going to publish it up to Alpha Cloud. That's just going to be easier for me. So I'm going to show you how I do that, just so you guys know how to do it. You can use this live test here and tell it you want to use Alpha Cloud. And let's see, we're going to go ahead and index is going to be our page that we're going to fire off. And we'll configure Alpha Cloud. And you can sign in. Here it's just loading up all the files. And it's go ahead and start the publishing process. I'll pause this until it's done, and then we'll go in and we'll look at the application on an Android device. Okay, so I published the app to Alpha Cloud, and here I'm running it on a emulator. I had a hard time projecting my Android device screen to my PC here. So here I'm just running it on an emulator. And this is what we see on an Android device here. Notice this add Alpha Notes to home screen. So they automatically are asking that in Android. Do you want to add it? And you could click yeah. So you don't actually even need this, right? So you can do either this or this. But in this case, notice the difference. We have this arrow pointing to this area. Click on this, and then we would say install app in this case. So install app. Yeah, we want to install it. And you would say touch and hold the widget to move it around on the home screen, or add to home screen. So here, add to home screen here. Then in this case, we'll exit out of that. And in this case, go back to the home screen. Oh, sorry. Going back further. And here we see our Alpha Notes added to the home screen on the Android device. So we get this indicator that it is a web app, so we can see the Chrome thing there. So if I'll go ahead and launch that, and then this is what it's going to look like when launched from the home screen on an Android device. And then from here, I'm going to show it. I will also show you this running on an iOS device. So bear with me and I'll show you that. I thought it best just to record these screens. Here you can see this is the install app on an iOS device. You can see the arrow here pointing down, and you'd have to click on that and add to home screen here. Once you do that, you're going to get this screen. Click add. Comes up on your home screen. The app is installed on the device, and here's the app running on the device. Well, I want to thank you all for your attention today. The ability to add a pop-up that prompts you to add to the home screen certainly on a mobile device is really critical and very critical for iOS. So this is a nice addition to the product. I have recorded a number of videos that are related to PWAs, and shown on the slide above is the URL, the location to go to view all of the videos that I've done over the last, this is 3 years. And they all build on each other. There's also some very good information in there for you, so you might want to check that out. Thanks so much. Take care.